From old school classics such as Pong and Tetris to modern day battle royales, video games have been a growing avenue of mainstream entertainment for more than 40 years. From music and art to level design and story, games have been both steadily improving aspects such as graphics and world size, while seeing a cultural shift where sometimes less is more. But what is a video game? Is it purely a medium for entertainment? Or perhaps it's just lines of code running together? Maybe it's some sort of interactive movie. In reality, it's a combination of all of those, and today I'd like to give you a peek at what goes into making these games. First, a little bit about me. From a young age, I've always been interested in technology, but never had an outlet for my dreams. That is until 8th grade, when the Technology Student Association, otherwise known as TSA, began being offered at Pinecrest. TSA is a national conference where students compete in over 60 competitions at both middle school and high school levels. I immediately got involved in the one that has shaped my life ever since, video game design. Every year, we have 5 months to plan, produce, and refine a game in time to present it at the state conference in February. I led the first Pinecrest video game design team to second place in the state of Florida in 2016 and third in 2018, and retained most original project members who are now working on this year's game. These years have refined a delicate game-making process, much of which is spent planning before anything concrete is created. And that's how we start every year, by storyboarding game ideas. Now, the first year we did this, we made a promise to put the game's integrity above all else, to always strive to make the best, most enjoyable game possible, regardless of the outcome at the competition. As such, we typically start by deciding on a game genre that we all enjoy and that fits the theme. For example, last year's game was a sports games theme. We decided that we wanted to make it a platformer, a type of game in which the player pilots a character through platforms and enemies to the end of the level. A classic example of this would be Super Smash Bros. To fit the theme, we designed it as a boxing platformer, where the main character fights enemy boxers on his way to the top. But we didn't want to just make something that already existed in our own art style, so we put a spin on it. Between levels, the perspective shifts from side-scroller view to top-down view. The game then opens up into a free-roaming world, where the player can travel from town to town, fighting different boxing styles and purchasing upgrades from local vendors with his winnings. Now, we had an original game idea that fit the theme and that everyone enjoyed. Next, we go to what I call pre-production. Here we take the broader ideas we established and start concretely planning out how it will look and feel in the game. For example, the GUI, or graphical user interface, starts being prototyped here. The GUI is essentially anything that is overlaid in front of the world in a game, such as a health bar, a menu, or a dialog box. Here, artists are crucial because having visual representations, many times hand-drawn sketches of game ideas, can help organize the team so we're all on the same page. We frequently spend entire meetings planning features and assets on whiteboards to prepare for their creation later on. And pre-production can last days or it can last months. It really completely depends on how complex your game is and how much of that complexity needs to be known by the entire team at all times. Which brings me to the next step, production. This is typically where you will spend most of your time, as it includes, well, actually making the game. Here, coordination is key, because the vast majority of the time, each member will be working on their own part and on a smaller part of the game, which joins with all the other parts at the end to form the product. As such, most members are given specific roles to guide their development. In our teams, we always have at most 6 members, which are split amongst these jobs: graphic artists, programmers, sound designers, documenters, and others. In the production phase, each member's strengths shine through their specific expertise in a certain area. So we'll start off with the programmers. The 2 main areas that a programmer needs to be absolutely proficient in is coding and mastery of the game engine. Typically, games are programmed using languages such as C++, C#, or Java. However, building a game up from nothing with these would be unbelievably more work than is required nowadays, because of platforms that deal with much of the raw math and processing for the game. These are called game engines, and they typically consist of multiple individual modules that work together to create different parts of the game, such as an audio engine for all sound and music, and a physics engine for gravity, momentum, or even air resistance. The modules are all bundled into a program, which is then used alongside the programmer's code to create games. In a primitive form, Scratch could be considered a game engine, but modern games tend to use either proprietary engines created by their development team, such as Electronic Arts or EA, and their Frostbite engine, or use one of the publicly available engines, such as Unity 3D and Unreal Engine, the former of which has been our team's choice for the past few years. Next, the graphics artists. They are the heart and soul of the team. Frequently, the art style can make or break a game, and for the general audience, it's what's going to be remembered. And as such, it all starts off with one of the first decisions made when planning out a game, if it will be 2D or 3D. Essentially, a 2D game is flat, and typically either moves from left to right, known as side-scroller, or omnidirectionally, as if viewed from above, known as top-down. 3D, however, has depth, and has progressively become the choice for modern games, allowing for more immersive environments and complicated but detailed worlds. 3D games have quickly overtaken their flat counterparts in the global gaming industry. And through the use of 3D modeling programs, such as Autodesk Maya and Blender, graphics artists can create objects in a simulated environment where they can be viewed from all angles. Furthermore, these programs also have incredible potential for allowing for more complex animations and character rigging, where a model is given a skeleton to simulate joints, making them attractive to even large animation studios. For example, the same program we are using to make our 3D assets this year, Autodesk Maya, was used by Disney for the backbone of their movie Frozen. But while making assets is what is typically associated with graphics artists, they're also the world-building force behind the team. Managing lighting systems, cutscenes, and applying images to the faces of models, known as texturing, are all equally vital parts of a graphics artist's job. The sound designers find themselves in a similar boat, using programs that simulate sounds, into musical treasures. Furthermore, sound designers also have the important job of making the effects for the game. We started off by quite literally banging rocks against the ground outside the middle school library to get a mining sound effect, recorded on an iPhone 6 and edited on GarageBand. Since then, we've upgraded to a professional tier setup with a Blue Yeti microphone and FL Studio 20. And we're always learning more. Now, this is one of the tougher roles, because even if you understand music theory and composition, sometimes it just won't sound quite right. That's why truly great sound designers just feel the music flowing through them. From upbeat battle music to ambient soundtracks, this role has the power to completely change a scene and truly immerse a player in the game. Now, our last two roles are story writer and documenter. They are the creative engine behind the machine, and it's frequently undertaken by the same person. They handcraft a tale that will be woven into the narrative of the game and can make or break an entire storyline. Without them, games seem stale and lifeless. Now, while most people view a game by the actual interactions that take place while playing, some historic franchises have been built around relatable characters and detailed worlds. These universes can become beautifully composed creations, where walking in a forest is suddenly a journey through a magical realm. The writers are the sturdy blacksmiths and the flowing trees, the pulsing crystals and the roaring dragons, and together they engineer living, breathing worlds. So as you can see, making games is a delicate process involving many different skill sets, working together to create a masterpiece. Each piece needs each other, and when they are perfectly humming in synergy, a gorgeous product is created. Now at heart, games are just bundles of code and art made to entertain. But to people like me, they are so much more. They're a form of artistic expression. They're an outlet and a powerful medium for change. So at the end of the day, if even a single person hears our message or gets some joy from our games, it makes it all worth it. Thank you.